nothing but talk, and it's all about business. This is Melbourne Business Now.
In 1993, Kate Leeming became the first woman in history to cycle across the new Russia when she organised, led and completed the 5-month, 13,400-kilometre Trans-Siberian cycle expedition in aid of the children of Chernobyl. 10 years later, she conceived and organised the Great Australian Cycle Expedition. It's otherwise known as GRACE, a 25,000-kilometre journey through her own country, which is Australia, 7,000 k's of which were to be off-road on isolated tracks in remote regions. First of all, welcome to Kate Leeming.
Thank you, Mike. Glad to be here.
Great bike rides. I mean, so the usual 10 or 20k ride, not what you want to keep riding like Forrest Gump.
Sort of. I mean, that's how I started, though. Just started with small rides, a little trip in Ireland just to see Ireland. It just became a way that I could really experience a country and a land and a region. And people just love you and they open their hearts to you. And so I found it very motivational, and that sort of grew and grew. So I think I did something like about 15,000 k's through Europe in total before I actually organised the Trans-Siberian Cycle Expedition. So that kind of changed then from being just like something for myself and to satisfy my own spirit of adventure. And therefore the Russian expedition was something to sort of also help children affected by the Chernobyl disaster as well. So it kind of has another value.
Fantastic. The number of flat tyres would have been horrendous.
I've lost count, really. Good to invest in good tyres as well.
Good tyres, yeah. But it's I mean, they're things that you read about in the paper and you think, oh wow. But the logistics and the challenges to actually, from the thought process to starting it and then finishing it, must have been some horrendous experiences or challenges.
I think you have to research something very, very well, but also you have to choose an idea, somewhere you really want to go. It's got to be a real passion first. And once, I spend quite a long time, even years, thinking about these things before I actually move on them. And then, like, the Australian expedition took something like 9 months to organise, which probably doesn't seem that long, but it was really intensive while I was working full time. And I think it's more like, almost like setting up your own business, because you've got to find that idea first, and then you've got to be able to sell it. And it's got to have something original, an original angle to it as well. So it could be like the Russian trip was the Chernobyl thing and the first woman to cross the whole of Russia. The Australian trip was like first crossing of the Canning Stock route by a woman as well. So you've got to have some sort of hook, and then you've got to be able to sell it to all sorts of people as well. So
the first trip across Russia, I suppose your folks would have said, oh well, let Kate go ahead and do that, get it out of her system, and then 10 years later, you're sitting around having dinner one night, oh, I'm going to ride across Australia, 25,000 k's, and you did it.
Well, no, it would worry them quite a lot. So with respect to them, I also want to make sure that I can prove to them that I'm going to be safe. So in the Russian expedition, we always had a Russian cycling with us as well. So that was kind of a way of not only understanding the land a little bit better, but also getting through safety aspects. They can change money in markets, whereas we're going to get ripped off probably every time. And, there are bandits, there's mafia, there's all sorts of things there. We didn't really have any trouble. And vodka. And then when they invite you into their house for a little bit of vodka, and they take the cap off and they throw it away and think, oh no, I've got to cycle another 130, 150 k's tomorrow, and this is, rocket fuel they're trying to load you up with.
And that water bottle would be, like, interesting.
Yeah, especially, well, it wasn't actually the vodka in the water bottle, it was actually just the water that was a problem.
So the water was pretty bad?
Yeah, it just didn't have,
cleansing.
Well, it wasn't that cleansing. Cleansed the whole system, shall we say.
So, okay, moving 10 years down the track then, you did this great bike ride across Australia, 25,000 k's. I mean, what was the purpose of it?
I was also, so the cycling is sort of my way of satisfying my own spirit of adventure, but also this time I chose to aid awareness about the importance of education for sustainable development. And I thought that the two matched very well, and I guess having seen lots of other parts of the world, I wanted to see how Australia sort of matched up on those stakes. And so it was kind of two areas that were quite close to my heart. So UNESCO actually took it on as Australia's first demonstration activity for their Decade of Education for Sustainable Development. I know that's a big mouthful, but it's actually, it also gave it a lot of kudos.
It is a big mouthful.
So when I went to go and get sponsors as well, that helped quite a lot, because they could see that I wasn't just doing this for my own good. There was an education program. I was stopping at schools. I had a website, and on that website I reported things that I saw. obviously with this
Yeah.
book I've written
Yep.
a lot more about those issues as well. So
It's a great book too. Let's talk about the book, Out There and Back. How long did it take? I mean, besides the actual, the organising, the trip itself, and then the putting together of that. I mean, how long did that take?
about 2 years. Roughly 2 years since I finished that expedition. And I mean, I think for me, writing the book's almost harder than the expedition itself, and it's taken a lot of. I've had to sit down for 2 years. That's hard enough as it is. But
We just have a bike in the lounge room and just pedal away.
Yeah. But anyway, so that was just a massive challenge for me to sit down and to put everything into context and to write. I knew I could write, but I hadn't written more than a magazine article before. So to sit down and go through everything phase by phase and to put it all together. I know I've got good photos, and I wanted to make sure that I put those photographs in where the text is, rather than kind of a few, colour picture plates in the middle of the book. So I thought that would mean much more that way. So.
And all the photos, just to say, throw that one out, keep that one. I mean, there would have been some great photos that didn't make it.
There are, so I had to be ruthless
Part two.
after a while.
Yeah,
part two. Well, I also give presentations as well, so I've used some of the photos I used in my presentations may say what I need to say there, whereas other ones I've used in the book. So I just have to be a bit more ruthless about throwing some out.
Could you